Hello and welcome to the 2025 MBR Trail Bike of the Year test.
As always, we split the test into two distinct categories, shop bought and direct sales, and this is the direct sales test.
Al, talk me through the bikes we've got in test this week.
Okay, so we've got 4 bikes. We've got the Propain Hugene 2 CF, we've got the YT Jeffsy Core 3 AL, we've got a Canyon Spectral CF 9, and the last bike is the Privateer 141.
And so what was the criteria when you were going about arranging this test?
Okay, criteria was really simple. Trail bikes, all 29-inch wheels, all with 150, 140 mil travel, so 150 mil forks, 140 mil rear, roughly, right? I'm going to keep price point off 4K.
So how did that work out with the price point?
Well, initially it worked out okay, right? So the Canyon's 4.6, the YT's like 4.5, the Propain's 4.3 roughly, and then the Privateer's like $4,000.
Okay, and now?
Danny, we can talk about the discounted prices when we get into the individual bikes, so why don't we just kick it off?
Yeah, well, I think it's also worth making the point now that you've done some quite deep dives on each of these individual bikes already, haven't you?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the components in this, but we're also going to focus more on the ride and the handling.
I call them spotlight videos. The first videos I did in the bike was just to kind of introduce the bikes, and there was very little on ride quality. I had a couple of rides on each bike, so were like first impressions, so we'll definitely go deeper on that. And also, when I rode those bikes, they didn't have our control tires on or our control components. So these bikes come fitted with WTB tires, WTB saddles, and WTB grips, so the contact points are all the same.
We also got ABUS helmets on board as well.
ABUS helmets, we're wearing those in all the shoots, so you'll see us wearing the ABUS helmets.
Okay, 4 bikes, where do we start?
Let's start right here in the Propain, Danny, because it's the lightest bike on test by quite a lot.
So Al, you said this was the lightest bike on test. How much does it weigh?
It weighs 14.18 kilos, so basically 14.2.
Okay.
And to give that some perspective, the Privateer that we're going to see coming up later is 3 kilos heavier.
That's a big gap.
It's a huge gap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also like it's 2 kilos lighter than the YT. This is a lightweight trail bike.
Okay. And did that influence the handling?
I don't think the weight influenced the handling. I think more the kind of suspension and attitude influenced the handling. So this bike is, and I got to be fair to Propain here. It's the oldest bike in the test, as in the last time it had a revision was 2021, I think. The geometry's a little bit dated on it. It's got like a 65 head angle. The reach isn't too bad. The seat angle's a little bit slack. The BB height's good, but it's definitely not at the progressive end of where trail bikes are right now. And I think that's the key thing that affected the handling.
But it's got the same suspension components as a couple of the other bikes in this test,
Absolutely.
right?
So it's got ultimate level RockShox suspension. So you've got a Lyric on the front with 150 mil travel, and then you've got a Super Deluxe on the rear, and which gives like 140 mil travel, slightly less than that when you measure it, but it's close enough. And what's really interesting with this bike is, Propain's got the whole, you go online, you can custom build it. There's like millions of options for everything, colors, graphics, decals, specs. You can choose to have this bike with a 140 or a 150 mil travel fork, and the numbers I just quoted in the geometry were with a 150 mil travel fork.
Okay, so you can go even steeper and
more racy.
Yeah.
What I found with the suspension was the bike pedals really well, obviously, right? But it's got this weird kind of feel to it where it's kind of firm off the top, and then like you got to really smack it to get it moving, and then it can feel it's weird. It can almost feel a little bit wallowy on the climbs, and I think that's partly the more relaxed seat tube angle, and the fact that they've tuned it for like quite a specific trait. It doesn't feel like a 140 bike.
Okay, so what's the trait they've tuned it for?
Pedaling.
Right. Simple.
It's really simple, right? It's like, so if you're a mile muncher and you want a lightweight bike, you'd probably be really happy with that setup. But what I want more from a trail bike than that. I want a trail bike to be able to do like jack of all trades, pretty good at everything. And what I found with this bike was that yes, it pedals good. It doesn't actually climb super well because it doesn't have the modern geo for climbing. Obviously when you stand up and sprint, it feels really direct. When you stand up climbing, it feels really good, really kind of cross country. And I'd say it's more of a downcountry bike than a trail bike, but it's 140 mil travel.
Yeah, because I think there was quite a few comments about that in the spotlight video you did on it. Kind of, what are you calling it, a downcountry bike? It's, downcountry has to fit in this pigeonhole, this amount of travel, blah blah blah.
It's an attitude, Danny, right?
Yeah.
It's not travel.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, obviously, downcountry means it needs to be light.
Yeah.
This bike's light. It needs to be direct. This bike feels like a cross-country bike when you ride it. I'd say it needs to be engaging. You can put it that way. It needs to be kind of a bit more nervy, a bit more twitchy, a bit more reactive, so that you get more trail feedback. And what's noticeable in this bike is you get a lot of trail feedback.
Yep.
We had the same contact points on all the bikes. We had the same WTP tires, grips, saddles. And what I noticed when I was riding this bike on rougher terrain, I could feel my hands moving around inside my gloves.
Right.
The bike's really well made. It's super polished. SRAM G2 brakes. I'd like something a little bit more, with a bit more bite. These have got 200mm rotors front and rear, but they're not super grabby.
Powerful, yep.
They've also got high spring pressure, which is common to some other SRAM brakes too. So like I'd like a lighter action on the lever. You got a bike yoke dropper. I mean, even though the bike's got quite a tall seat tube, you can still fit like a 180mm dropper in there, and I've got room to play with. So that kind of dates the bike a little bit, but I think in keeping with the pedaling attitude, it's okay to have a taller seat tube. The key thing is, it came with Schwalbe tires too, stock. Magic Mary, Big Betty, decent combination, good casings. They're soft, and they're just not really, the soft's not really that soft, so it's a little bit pingy. And what I found with this bike is the front end would tuck a bit. I just felt like I couldn't load in the suspension and play on the bike, and I wanted the bike to be more dynamic, and really it rewards someone who just wants to be more of a passenger and pedal hard.
Sure.
And I'd rather have a bike that can kind of like, that I want a manual, that I want to pump, that I want to kind of get light on my feet on the pedals. And I just found that this bike didn't encourage me to do any of that.
Okay, so it felt like you were riding more passively on it.
Yeah, absolutely, with more feedback. And I actually think, like, I mean, I was writing up the review the other day, and I was like, maybe I should have just gone with a 140mm fork and lent into the whole kind of like down country, shorter travel, more direct feel that this bike has, because it's stiff too, right? Like it's category 4 rated. It looks flimsy, it looks light, it isn't. And because it's a twin link design, so all the other bikes are 4 bars, like traditional horse link 4 bars, because they're all, well, 2 of them are German. This is German too, but like this is more like a VPP design. You've got a carbon upper link, you've got a lower link, you've got kind of you've got like pretty high anti-squat on it, and I think that's also part of that pedaling efficiency. And I was thinking maybe I should have just gone with a shorter fork, but then the head angle would have got steeper.
Yep.
It would have helped with the seat angle, but like it kind of almost needs a whole revision.
Yeah. So it's interesting, isn't it? Because the new Hugene that's just come out,
like to yesterday,
they've really like doubled down on this kind of angle on this bike, haven't they?
Totally.
They've really lent into the down country, and they've reduced the travel.
Yeah.
They've got all
updated the geo. They've made it a little bit
geo.
longer, a bit slacker, so you haven't just kind of like put a shorter travel fork on it.
Yeah,
totally.
Added frame storage, but the weight is the same, right?
Exactly. So frame storage will add a little bit, and the pricing's pretty competitive too. So like this, it's a long leg Deck C bike.
Yep.
You may as well just have a shorter travel, tighter, lighter, more reactive bike.
Yeah.
So Danny, just before we wrap this up, I want to touch on the price. And it's this bike was because it got custom specifications. They've all got different prices. This one was 4,355 because it was built to meet the test.
Yep.
It's currently available for under. I don't even know if it's currently available anymore, but it became available for just under 3. But I'm basing my ratings on the RRPs of the bike, because that's the bike, when the brands launch the bikes, that's what they expect to be able to get for them. And I rated this bike a 7.
Okay.
Just because of all the things I pointed out, it's like, it's a quality bike, it just can't, there's a mismatch.
Yeah. There are people that this bike will suit perfectly, but it's like we say every year, don't we? It's kind of trail bikes are such a broad spectrum, and it's that you can make a million different options. Yeah,
and if I had one of these bikes already, I think you could fix a lot of it with a different shock tune. You could go with a lighter shock tune, because what happens with the bike then is that the Lyric Ultimate is super effective fork, right? And with 150mm travel, when you're riding the bike, it just feels like it pivots around the rear axle too much. So not hardtail, but you know what I mean by that. Less low speed, a lighter tune in the shock would definitely help bring the kind of bike to life if that's what you want from it.
Sounds good. What's next?
Okay, well, let's go from the lightest bike in test to the heaviest bike in test.
All right, let's do it.
Cool.
So Al, you said this was the heaviest bike on test. Remind me how much it weighs.
17.2 kilos.
That's porky, isn't it?
It's enduro bike weight.
Yeah.
In fact, when this bike got delivered and I pulled it out of the box, I was like,
You thought it was a 161?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was the enduro bike, right? Like, and then I had, thankfully it's written on the frame, so there's definitely a lot of crossover there. I mean, there's probably not much difference in weight, right? It's got a 38 fork, a bit more travel. But yeah, this is heavy ass trail bike.
Yeah. Did it ride better in certain situations, like bike park situations, as a result of the build?
Absolutely.
Well, that's cool.
100%. Like, okay, so I took the bike out of the box, I rode it around a bit, and I looked at it and I was like, okay, it had a double down case and rear tire, it had a max grip front tire. I was like, right, we had a rainy day at Bike Park Wales, and I was like, there's only one of these 4 bikes I'm taking because it got those tires on. Boom, in the van, I had an amazing day.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Like, I was like, this bike is, when I said it blurs the line between trail and enduro, it really does feel like an enduro bike with slightly less travel. The bike's actually got more travel than claimed, though. It says it's a 141. I think I measured it at 144. And that's because the frames come with proportional chainstay lengths. So as you go up in size, they get longer chainstay lengths. So you basically, that increases the travel, right?
They look adjustable here.
They are adjustable too. So you've got 10 mil of adjustment on the chainstay. I think the chainstay length is like 442, something like that, and then you can go 10 mil longer. So if you want to change the weight balance of the bike, you can do. I didn't actually use it because I found that chainstay length with the suspension behavior and the bar height and stuff, I could load the front really easily. So I didn't feel the need to go longer on the rear, but you could do, and especially maybe if you're a really tall guy or you're on the XL. There's 4 frame sizes. This is the L. So if you were on the bigger frame, it's going to have proportionally longer chainstays, but you could go even longer if you wanted to.
Well, that's a cool feature, right?
It's a really cool feature, and another cool feature is it's got flip chips for 29 or MX.
Okay.
Bikes ship full 29 in P. Okay, so I said it was L and XL, but let me get this clear.
Yeah.
It's P1, P2, P3, P4, right?
Yeah.
P1 comes MX as standard. All bikes are 29 or MX compatible because of the flip chips right here.
Okay, so yeah, that's cool. You got some adjustments. Obviously, that's going to add weight, but it also adds versatility.
Yeah, and I mean, and look at the size of that, like yoke, that shock yoke. I mean, it's huge, right?
Yeah. All of the kind of forgings and pivot areas, they all look really substantial.
Oversized, right? The main pivot and the rocker link pivots come with Enduro Max bearings. But what's interesting is that on the rear, so we call traditionally the horse link pivot, it's got bushings in it because there's less rotation in it. And what I noticed on the bike was I developed a little bit of play, and you can hear it go dum 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 on the non-drive side pivot. The bushing fit tolerance just isn't perfect on it. So either privateers send you new bushings or there's a spacer for it you can put in to get rid of that. Because it should mention too that it ships with a spare derailleur hanger because it's not UDH.
Yep.
So you might have trouble finding one. And to be honest, when we were at Bike Park Wales that first day, rock flew up, hit the derailleur, bent the derailleur hanger. So I used it straight away. It's a really nice touch.
That's cool. Well, I mean, it's privateer. That's whole part of the ethos, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, you've got the external cable routing,
which are a little bit ugly, but easy to work on, right? Yeah. Privateer comes under the rider firm umbrella, and so does Hunt Wheels, right? And for a company that makes delivered to your door in a box wheels, I was pretty surprised that I had to take a spoke key to the rear wheel after like 2 rides.
Okay.
The spokes were basically loose. I mean, it was bike park. I was doing jumps, trying to do whips, probably leaving it out there, not bringing it back.
Hanging it out.
Only doing half the work, and then just like letting it straighten and landing. But I was quite surprised by that. And the other thing about this bike that really surprised me, and this is going to blow your mind, it's one of the best climbers in test.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I know the early privateers had really steep seat tubes, didn't they?
This one's got a pretty steep seat tube. Not as steep as the early one, so it doesn't kind of feel weird when you're pedaling on the flat, but it's north of 78 degrees.
Yep.
So you're really sat forward and you've got that chainstay length. And as long as you just sit there and plug, you can get up anything. So it's really heavy, but it pedals well in those particular situations. So I think this bike basically it's kind of like, it performs best on steeper gradients, so steep up and steep down.
Okay.
Right? That's where it really comes to life.
It's not a bike for covering ground.
It isn't. Yeah. And that's the thing that I thought, I think for a trail bike, I thought that's where it was lacking. And a lot of that just comes down to the way, and I don't think it's the weight, I think it's the suspension behavior when you pedal. It's kind of got this kind of little bit of weird suspension behavior when you stand up to sprint across stuff, especially if it's choppy. It feels like there's sort of feedback or something coming through it. So I ran a little bit extra low speed, but the low speed adjuster on the Foxrock doesn't do that much on this shock because it's got quite a light tune on it. So what I ended up doing was slowing the rebound down a bit. So just because the bike would kind of it would almost be sort of come out of the travel too easily. So I just used the rebound to hold it in a little bit more. And I found that was a decent compromise. And it's not terrible at covering ground, but it definitely feels like it's been designed in Canada for going up steep and down steep.
Yeah. Which it has, I
Exactly.
guess. Yeah. So what about the rest of the spec?
I mean, the Hayes Dominion brakes, super light action, like powerful. Like, I mean, it's kind of funny. They've gone like 203, 180. Like, what did they put a 180 mil rotor on the back of this bike for? Like, is that concession to weight when you're 17.2 kilos? Doesn't matter, right? It comes with a double down rear tire, which we mentioned before, which kind of shows you its intention. Max grip in the front, so loads of grip. And they've done it right. Like, they've got really good brakes, they've got really good tires, and they've got really good suspension. Like, they've got Fox Performance Elite suspension, so you've got 4-way adjustable fork, you've got 3-way on the shock. They've really got the things that enhance the ride quality on the bike.
The people that are like serious riders, the things that serious riders are looking for, isn't it?
Exactly. But what they might not be looking for is a bike that's quite so angular. Yeah, so I would like quite regularly like catch the heel of my shoe, the inside heel of my shoe on the seat stay assembly, because it kind of comes down like this, Danny, and then it's got a kink.
Yeah, I can see
like
it.
that.
Yeah, that can be pretty annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit annoying. Like I said, maybe if you ride with a wider stance, or I mean, it'd be really annoying if you ride duck foot. But the frame does come with a protective ride wrap coating on it, so at least you're not going to wear the paint off.
That's a nice touch.
Yeah, totally. It's like, I mean, like I said, it's well thought out.
So where do we end up? First of all, should we start with the price? Where did it end up on price?
So price ended up at 2,549.
2,549.
So 2,549 pounds.
That's pretty good.
It's amazing. Like, and to be, okay, I've said in all of the Spotlight videos, you got to ignore the discounted prices, but you can't ignore them either, right? Like, so my rating, I give this bike an 8, partly because I think it's more like an enduro bike than a trail bike, even though like if you're a big heavy rider, it's going to be an ideal trail bike for you. Little things like the bushing, the kind of the heels clipping, you know, those kind of things were kind of little niggles, I think, that could be ironed out on the bike to make it like, to bring it up a level. But if you can get this bike for 2,549, it's probably the best bike in the test.
Right, yeah.
Right, I mean, that's a lot of bike for your money.
Absolutely, yeah. So what did you give it? You gave it an 8, right?
I gave it an 8. So basically, I'm rating it an 8, but at the discounted price, it's a 9.
Just ignore the rating and just buy one if you want.
Just buy one. Like, it's a good bike. And definitely for the guys that want to ride more chunky, gnarly terrain, this is a really good option.
So what bike are we going to go to next?
Okay, so we're going to go from the cheapest bike, which was cheapest at retail and cheapest discounted, to the most expensive bike.
Okay. So, Al, you said this is the most expensive bike. It looks like the most expensive bike. It's bristling with features, isn't it?
It is. I mean, they've kind of out-specialized on the features front.
They have, haven't they?
Yeah. So basically, it was 4,600. There's a new version out that's just literally just come out. It's the same bike, but it's got Fox factory suspension, and it costs the same amount. And what's really interesting about this bike, Danny, is that while everyone was slashing prices like crazy, I think the cheapest I saw this bike was 4.3 or like 4.4, so they didn't discount it very much at all.
Okay, but this is quite a new platform, isn't it?
It is. It was revised in 2024. I was at the launch of this bike, and I should probably run you through like some of the features on it, because it's feature laden, right?
I mean, how much time we got? But
I don't know. Well, let's just go through it quickly then, right? Full carbon frame.
Yep.
You can order the bike with 29 or 27.5 rear wheels. You can have, this is full 29 because all the bikes were 29, but you can order at checkout 27.5 in the rear. And they've got these little asymmetric flip chips on the horse link, where we've seen those before.
Specialized.
Exactly. But it's a really good feature, right? So it corrects the geometry 100%, and you can run either wheel.
That's cool.
It's really cool. You've got high-low EB settings here on the shock mount, like pretty standard. It's got really good cable routing. It's got SWAT. Sorry, can we call it SWAT? Okay, it's got internal down tube storage.
Okay, yeah, that's a very Germanic way of putting it.
It is, but it's a German brand. It's a little bit fumbly. Like the latch is kind of a little bit awkward, but you get used to it. If it's your bike, you're going to learn how to do it. And the opening's not very big. Okay. So while you can, it comes with a nice kind of waterproof kind of tube for putting the inner tube in, like a lozenge sort of thing. You kind of push it in, but you're not going to get a burrito in there. And I really like the fact that they've got this little offset thing here, so they've got extra stiffness, kind of like on the drive side and then, but they've slanted it so it doesn't turn into a little bird bath, so water and mud doesn't collect there.
So another massive feature unique to Canyon is the KISS, isn't it?
So KISS is a keep it stable steering stabilizer. So it's not a damper, right? Because there's two springs that basically run along in here onto a cam on the head tube that kind of corrects the steering back to neutral, to center.
Yep.
And by sliding this little chip backwards and forwards, you can adjust it, right? So you can have it like 0, you don't feel it, or oh, it's quite pronounced.
Yeah, but the great thing is you can basically turn it off, right?
So
it's there, or you can even remove it. So it's not really, it's not detracting from the bike in any way. It could be an addition.
Absolutely. And I think you're going to find situations where definitely it causes a bit less kind of like tuck and stuff and things like that, and kind of can keep you kind of on loose trails. Just calm the steering down a little bit, like a soft front tire. But let's not focus too much on that, because like it's just one aspect of the bike. I think the key thing with this bike is how direct it is. And that's not plan on being a direct sales bike at all. It's just really direct. You stomp on the pedals, this thing goes forward. It's insanely direct. It's like, I don't know what it's to the point where it's actually probably I found it a little bit too stiff.
Okay.
I think even with the 31.8 bar, the kind of undersized bar and stuff, the bike's just like really like, it feels like a 4-cross bike.
Okay, yeah.
Like you pedal, boom, it goes forward. You lean, boom, you put some weight on the inside of the handlebar, boom, it leans in.
Well, there was a time when every trail bike was trying to be a 4-cross bike, right?
Yeah, I mean, and this one is. This one, like, it is. And I think also they've got like, so you've got ultimate level suspension again. Yeah, Danny, and I gotta give a shout out to RockShox, because I think the Lyric Ultimate's probably my favorite for it right now.
Yeah, I mean, you've been spending a lot of time on it, haven't you, with data logger and trying different settings.
Different volume spacers, different settings. I really like the fact that the compression damping is really easy to understand, and it's got really usable range of adjustment. So I'm really happy with the 150mm fork on this bike. The shock, a little bit less so.
Okay.
I definitely think they've gone to that kind of like, we want it to pedal really well. And at the launch, I kind of ended up I ran the bike softer to try and get the suspension to be a bit more active. And then all I did was bottom it out everywhere. And I said that Canyon kind of maybe got the tune wrong. And so then I actually got Canyon to send me a Fox shock. So I rode it with the Fox shock. I rode them back to back, RockShox and Fox. And while the Fox shock feels a little bit freer, it wasn't kind of the revelation I was hoping for. I wasn't thinking, oh, that's night and day, it's amazing. And it stopped the bike being so stable. So the tune in the Fox shock's more open, it feels a bit freer, so the bike feels less stable, but not really crazy much plusher. The RockShox shock, I went up from probably 30% side to 27, 25. I was increasing the pressure in the shock to reduce the side. So that stopped the bottoming and didn't seem to make it feel any harsher, so I sort of preferred it like that. But it's just, again, it doesn't have that, it kind of robs you a little bit of that ability to push into the suspension and preload and pop. It takes a little bit of the dynamism out of the bike, but it also means that it rides really flat.
Okay.
So when you're pushing really hard, pushing in berms, pushing that sort of stuff, the bike's just like, it just sits. It just takes a set, sits there, you rail the corners, and like it just feels fast.
Well, it sounds good, but you maybe have to sacrifice a little bit of comfort, and maybe just you need to be more active on the bike a little bit.
Totally, and it's not trying to be an enduro bike. They've got an enduro bike for that, right? It's a trail bike, and I've also think like, although it was the most expensive bike at 4.6, if we compare it to the YT, which is coming next, which was 4.5, this one's got SRAM GX axis. That bike had like S1000. This bike's got a full carbon frame. It's got DT Swiss wheels. Came with Maxxis tires. It's funny, like a bit like the downhill bike. They run the Mini and DHR2 front and rear 2.4s. Like I mean, it's like EXO on the front to save a little bit of weight. EXO Plus on the rear for a bit more casing. So like, it's definitely a focused trail bike, and it's pretty good at everything. But I'd prefer it if it was a little bit more fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great spec out of the box, right?
It's amazing.
No need to change anything.
I mean, on paper, it's the best bike here.
Yeah. But
price, spec, everything, but just it lacks a little bit in the ride quality, and that's why I gave the bike a 9.
Okay. And the price, is that stay the same?
Yeah, it's still like, the new version of this bike with the Fox factory suspension is 4.6.
That's a really good deal.
Yeah, and maybe if the next bike wasn't in the test, this would be my pick. But let's get to the bike that actually like also scores a 9, but I think is a little bit more playful and fun to ride.
Yeah, let's check it out. So Al, we've got a YT in front of us. This is going to be a really controversial end to our video, isn't it?
Danny, we've never been afraid of a bit of controversy.
It's true, you're right.
That's why we test the bikes, right?
Literally, as we were about to do this little piece to camera, I got an email from YT. Obviously, this will be coming out a little bit later, but they did say that they are working hard to resolve every single customer's case with people that have paid for a bike and haven't received it yet.
Yep.
So hopefully that adds a little bit of
reassurance,
confidence to people going forward. Obviously, we're still a long way off being back to normality, but
so Danny, you know, like I've read the comments in the Decoy launch video. I mean, like, yeah, I get it, but you went to the launch, you rode the bike, you wrote an appraisal of how the bike performs. It's not about the company or the people behind it or what it's basically just a review, and this is a review too, right?
Yep.
Like, so you can make the decision yourself
Yep.
if you want to take that risk, or if you think YT is stable enough to have a warranty in the future or whatever. That's up to you, right?
Yeah, do your research for sure.
But I'm just going to tell you how the bike rides.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's my job, right?
Which leads us nicely on to, how did it ride? We're at the end of the video with the best bikes.
Yeah.
Was this the best bike? Was this the bike that you would take home?
Yeah, if I wasn't paying. Because I think it's too expensive.
Okay.
Like at retail, it's $4 or $5.
Right, so basically the same as the Canyon.
Exactly.
But you have an alloy frame.
Yeah. You get Axis, but you get S1000 instead of GX. And like everything else is kind of comparable. But so Danny, the discounted price on this bike is $3,849, which I think actually reflects the true cost of the bike. And I don't even know if you could ever buy it at the retail price, right? Like, I mean, the bikes have been discounted, flash sales, discounted. There's always a discount, right? But if you look at the difference, like alloy versus carbon, GX versus S1000, that's about right between this and the Canyon, right? So I actually gave this bike a 9.
Yep.
So the same score as the Canyon, because I think both bikes have, they're imperfect, but for different reasons.
Yeah, so maybe there's a bit of a pricing strategy there where you release it high, comes down low, everyone thinks that's great value, and then they buy into it.
And I've also got to say too, we kind of put YT and Canyon in the same basket because they're both German direct sell brands with a similar trajectory. Yeah. But in terms of those two brands, one's huge and one's tiny.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I think what YT nailed on this bike is ride feel. And that's what you want, right?
Yep.
Like, I said in the preview video, we did the spotlight video, that this was my favorite bike so far. I've ridden them all, and nothing during the test changed my mind about that.
Okay. So let's delve into that a bit deeper then. So was it the whole kind of the frame feel, the suspension, like everything together, or was there?
It's the package.
Yeah.
It's the complete package. And like, I should also point out that there's a few anomalies with the numbers on this bike. It says it's got 145 mil travel in the rear. It hasn't. It's got 140. I measured it. It says it's got a 65-degree head angle. Thankfully, it hasn't. It's 64.1 in a low setting. Yeah. Right. So like, and I think that could just be because it's it could be a typo on the website, or it could be the fact that it's an aluminium frame. Yeah. And just there's variation when they weld them together. It's not carbon.
Well, I mean, I've had YT recently that had nowhere near the right amount of rear travel as well.
Yeah. But
it didn't matter, right? That's the point.
It didn't matter because like, I don't care that this bike's got 5 mil less travel than claimed. It's got the best feeling suspension of any of the bikes that I rode. Yeah. Right. And like, it's got relatively short, so there's 5 sizes, small, medium, and large, all come with 4 37 mil chainstays, and then they grow by 5 mil for XL and double XL. And it's just got this ride feel to it. Like, it's just, it makes you feel confident. It makes you feel cocky, actually.
Yeah. So it's a playful bike, yeah?
Playful, fun. You can load the suspension. It still pedals well. In fact, and because the suspension's active, when you're pedaling around like fire roady stuff or traversing from trail to trail and stuff, it's like the bike carries speed like incredibly well. Even with like, it has a max grip front tire as standard. Okay. So you've got loads of confidence in the front, but the bike it's got a pace to it that I think people underestimate that what suspension can do to how a bike rolls.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know? So so the geometry isn't what it says what it is, the price isn't what it says what it is. But the bike's really fun. Yeah. Like, and I think it's like, as a versatile bike, they've kind of like, they've kind of leaned, I wouldn't say into enduro. It's got Crank Brothers like synthesis enduro wheels, alloy wheels. Pick up on the free hubs, 32 point engagement. It's not super fast. There's a little bit of clunkiness on you hear it sometimes on the free hub. But like, other than the Renthal bar having a slightly, so this isn't a fat bar, this is just a Renthal OE alloy bar. Other than it having a slightly odd profile, it kind of looks weird, so you've got to roll it and go, oh yeah, that looks goofy, but feels fine. Like, everything on the bike's great.
Yeah. So it's not like there's a kind of standout aspect. It's just the package comes together.
The package comes together, but actually, the package comes together, but I think it's all comes around the shock tune.
Yeah.
I think they nailed their shock tune better than anybody else for the feeling that I like. Yeah, if you want a bike that pedals really tight, pedals really responsive, aren't too worried about how the suspension behaves, then maybe this isn't the bike for you.
Yeah.
Right? But if you want a bike that you kind of like, it's fun everywhere, you can ride it, it's good on jumps, it's good at slashing turns, you can really crank it over, it sprints well, it's definitely not as reactive as the Canyon, it doesn't feel as direct.
Yeah.
And when you there's a bit more flex in this bike, there's a bit more movement in the suspension, movement in the frame.
Yeah.
It's just got more movement in it. But then when you're riding a rooty, sketchy section of trail, the bike just kind of goes blah, 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 and sort of finds its own way
fluid,
through.
yeah.
It's more fluid.
Yeah.
And then I can't stress enough like how different the suspension feel is, because, like I said, there's 3 bikes with Lyric Ultimate forks on.
Yep.
Right? I had the data logger on all 3.
Yep.
I had to take the tokens out of all 3. And the bike, the Propain and the Canyon, it was pretty, not easy, but like you'd get close to full travel because the rear suspension was pushing you onto the fork.
Yeah.
On this bike, all the tokens out, I had to drop the pressure. I'd have probably liked to have a little bit more steer on here, because this has probably been a showroom bike that's been cut down to look good, and the stock bike will come with more steer, just to put the bars a bit higher and run the fork a bit softer, because the shock's not pushing you onto the fork all the time. And I think that's what gives you supreme confidence coming into stuff, because the bike's not, you're not constantly trying to counter the bike tipping you onto the fork.
Yeah.
You just sort of sit in the middle and go, whoa, and ride through stuff. It's like, I love it.
Yeah. So the other bikes almost were that efficiency and that kind of platform that they had, which was almost the problem that was then kind of
exacerbating it
onto
the forks.
So it's balanced as well. It's kind of what you're saying. Yeah,
it's really balanced, and it's balanced. It's balanced. Okay, how do I put this? It's balanced and it's biased to what I like.
Yeah.
I like a fun bike.
Yeah.
Like
well,
it's a hobby, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's your hobby,
Comes
right?
down to that.
Yeah, they're not XC race bikes. Okay, they don't have one goal.
Yeah.
Right. It's about having fun, and like, yes, I said it was expensive. What price can you put on performance? Like that buzz, that grin factor, like it's probably worth a few quid, right?
Yeah, priceless one. Some would
totally.
say. Yeah. I mean, it's such a contrast, this bike, to the Canyon, because it really kind of looks no frills in terms of
all thrills.
Yeah, there you go. I used to work in marketing.
Yeah, totally.
But in terms of all the features and stuff, it doesn't seem to have.
It doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, it's got the proportional chainstay thing that we talked about, which aren't proportional because 3 sides of one and 2 sides of the other. It's also got a little flip chip there, standard flip chip on the shock, on where the shock bolts to the frame. So if you did want to get closer to what YT's intended geometry was, you could steepen it up by like half a degree and raise the BB height by like 6 or 7 mil or something like that.
Who uses a steeper setting in a flip chip?
I felt no need for it in this bike. Like, and I can't stress enough, I just had so much fun riding it. I felt really confident. I felt I could do everything I want to do when I go mountain biking on this bike with less effort, and I love that.
So really it's just the price, the RRP price, that's kind of knocking this down.
Yeah, to a 9.
Yeah. So that's a wrap on the direct sales part of the 2025 MBR Trail Bike of the Year test.
And we've got 2 9-scoring bikes, we've got the Canyon for efficiency, and we've got the YT for fun.
So join us in part 2 for the shop bought bikes. I want to say thanks to WTB and Abbas for supporting the video, and I want to say thanks to you for watching.